Alright, so a pretty interesting and serious development in regards to Cyberpunk 2077's DLC plans. We've been talking about these and upcoming updates for quite a number of days at this point. Well, it seems, ladies and gentlemen, that the game already has the DLCs included, and not just that, you can play them right now, assuming that you're doing a bit of modding, which is only possible on the PC. But this is actually something that was discovered quite a while ago. I believe it was in January by a YouTuber called Ventra, and only up until today did we make the connection between that and the recent DLC name leaks that we had a few days ago. And it seems that it all fits because it kinda points towards cut content, at the very least from a surface level, which rightfully so got quite a number of players pretty much up in arms. So let's talk about that. Of course, this doesn't prove or disprove anything, also take it with a small grain of salt, but at this point the evidence is so damning that I don't really think there's a case to be made, but there is a case to be made that CD Projekt Red might have changed plans in the meantime, so we will see about that. Hopefully after this video they are planning to do so. So here is the connection. Of course, huge shout out to LNA over on Reddit because he made this connection recently. So the free DLC missions are already in the game and you can play them right now, 99% sure about it. And he mentions that about the list of the names of the free DLCs posted yesterday, I noticed something that I'm 99% sure about it, and you'll probably agree with me as well. And he goes further on to explain that there are 4 DLCs in the list called by the name of the district or sub-district of Night City, and this pretty much is the one that we've talked about yesterday. There was a list of about 17 DLCs and their names that were leaked, and these were the DLCs, 4 of them which had to deal with gigs, at the very least from what we were able to tell. So this was DLC number 3 called Cabo 1, indicating a Kabuki gig, DLC number 9 called ARR06, and DLC 14 indicating ARR12, which was pointing towards the Arroyo district, and finally DLC 16 pointing towards Japantown. Now, why are these locations of any significance, you might ask? Well, this actually brings us to an even bigger discovery that was made as early as the start of this year, which was all the way back in January of 2021 by a YouTuber that goes by the name of Sventra, so a huge shout out to him, and also definitely go ahead and check out his channel. I will post both his links as well as the links to the videos in question. But back then he was able to discover that there were 4 inactive gigs that were in the game files, and by using mods he was able to reactivate them, and not just that, also play through these particular missions. Of course, you can check the videos if you want to. Of course, this video is going to be spoiler free, but yeah, for the most part they were pretty broken. Some of the objectives of these missions would not complete. There were some other bugs with your character, with the settings, and also with the way lighting works, and some other variables in there as well. You can still do them if you want to, but they are clearly unfinished. So here is the connection that was made recently, the big connection that brings us and what ties all of this in, and that is the fact that the 4 missions that were inactive back in January are exactly in the same locations as the DLC names that were leaked recently. So again, LNA, huge shout out to him, but here is how it is. DLC number 3, the one in Kabuki, yeah, that mission is called Concrete Cage Trap, and it looks something like this. There's also DLC number 9 and DLC number 14, both of these in Arroyo. The first one is called Nasty Hangover, and the second one is called Desperate Measures, and the final one, DLC 16 in Japantown, is called Hot Head, and it's the final gig that's probably gonna get released for free, since it seems to be with the DLC number 16. So yeah, as you would imagine, this has caused quite a bit of outrage in the Cyberpunk community, and rightfully so. Like, people right now are really pissed because it's pretty clear what the intentions were all along. One user commented that, also a reminder that this is what free DLC usually means: content that was cut from the original game and then gets added later for publicity. Another user mentions that the game permanently ruined CDPR's reputation with them, plus the fact that the game has been out for over 7 months now and we've only gotten 2 major patches, 1.1 and 1.2. And there's many other comments referencing cut content or just malicious intent from CD Projekt Red, take 4 gigs created during the game's development that were cut for whatever reason, fix their technical issues, call it a DLC when really it's just a small patch to something already in the game files, community brownie point profit. Fantastic. And there's many more in there as well. Another user by the name of Raptor: most games do this. DLC is frequently just content that was cut for time in development, and like most people are kinda seeing exactly what this is. Now the big question here is, what do you think of this entire situation? Do you even care about it, or is it something that you would be pissed about? Because I can imagine some people thinking that CD Projekt Red is probably trying to make a PR statement, cutting content in order to appear better in the face of players once they re-release the content that already exists in the game as a quote-unquote free DLC or upgrade. I can totally see that as a scummy move, and why some people would be outraged about it, especially once it comes out to light. At the same time, I also have to mention that they literally did the same with The Witcher 3 as well, and some of the missions were indeed cut out of the game, but not because they were cut content, because they were greedy, but because they simply did not have enough time to finish them. And not just like missions, also certain parts of the game. Like I remember that the barber shop was supposed to be in the game on launch day, but they did not have enough time to implement it, so they released it later on as a free content DLC. But again, I might be wrong on that one. At this point, I think there is a big suggestion that could be made here for the company, and in order to just save face and appear better in the face of players, it would probably be better to just reactivate them once they are finished and fixed in an update, maybe update 1.3. And by the way, speaking of update 1.3, it is definitely coming. According to the global community manager Marcin over on Twitter, he did confirm today that yeah, update 1.3 is coming. No release date yet, but it is definitely coming, and it's also nice to know its number, which is 1.3. I believe this would also achieve the effect of maybe making the updates seem a little bit more important than they currently are, as in not just patch fixes for a broken game, but also something that actually adds something of value to the game, like new content, even though that content might already exist in the game files. Also at the same time, I do have to mention that maybe this is just full-on coincidence, because these 4 neighborhoods I was talking about, Rayo, of course also Japantown and Kabuki, are pretty big. They might just involve other gigs that CD Projekt Red might be still working on, and these 4 are just a coincidence. Though I will say it's a kind of strange, very big and very compelling coincidence for exactly 4 cut gigs to also kind of coincide with 4 DLCs in the game in the exact same locations, but maybe I'm just wrong on that one. Furthermore, this brings me to the 3rd point on the list, and that is the fact that if they are indeed still planning to release these current gigs as a DLC or different DLCs, release something on top of them as well. Right now there's been a bunch of leaks in regards to the number of DLCs that we might get, and it goes all the way up to number 23 according to a recent one, at the very least in regards to the add-on tab that was re-added or re-enabled by CDPR on the Epic Games Store. If that is true, that might make up for this whole debacle, because this means there's more than just 17, it more than makes up for that, and it would just fix the situation entirely. They also seem to have something like an expansion pass being planned. We can see one of those being mentioned right here. It's one of those that kind of have a price attached to it, right now $0.01, but there's a few more in there that are not fully free, like the class 1 and 2, so these might be expansion passes that might be different, so maybe different expansions that are paid, and then 23 DLCs maybe, because DLCs seem to have different numbers attached to them. Totally let me know down below what is your opinion on this. I definitely want to see your comments. Right now it doesn't look good for CD Projekt Red, no matter how much I kind of like this game and want to see it succeed, but we really can't ignore facts and things when they go wrong like this. So this is it, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.